the risk is paying off.
But in Dubai, people for some reason are still paying with physical check.
I think around 100,000 dirhams worth of bookings already for the low season, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think that's so impressive that you're doing so good without experience.
So you really want to make sure that your team understands what you want.
Nobody was documenting this.
Right.
My name is Bergthor and I'm on a journey to sublease 100 apartments in Dubai, currently at 9 units. And with me is a man on pretty much the exact same journey. You moved to Dubai at the same time as me. You're subleasing apartments at pretty much the same pace as me. We're doing the exact same thing. And it's pretty funny that we found each other, linked up, and yeah, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much, Bergthor. The pleasure is mine. My name is Redeet, and just like you, I'm on a mission to, build my Airbnb portfolio in Dubai at 14 apartments currently.
Nice.
Yeah. So thanks for the invitation.
Yeah,
Looking
you
forward
got it.
to it.
So 14 apartments. That's how many you have right now.
Yes, correct.
All right. And what's the goal? Is it how fast do you think you're gonna expand?
So
actually, let me start.
Sure.
Actually, one more question before that.
Yeah.
So subleasing. We're both subleasing. When people ask you, what do you do? How do you answer that?
Well, the short question is I run Airbnbs. It depends how far in depth I want to go. But subleasing is my main business model. I started doing revenue share as well. Okay. For the subleasing I just explain I rent apartments and I sublet and I make money on the spread, the difference between the long-term rent and the short-term rent. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, same thing as I'm doing. Just go into the long-term rental market, rent apartments, put them on Airbnb, book.com, and try to make more than what I pay rent.
Exactly.
So and you also do revenue share. How many apartments do you have?
Right now, 2.
Okay.
Disclosing the second one. I'm trying to have like a diverse portfolio of both rental arbitrage, so subleasing, and on the other hand, revenue share as well.
Yeah.
Both models have something interesting to it. It's just what you prefer. One makes more money. Obviously, that's a subleasing one, and the other one is easier on cash flow. That's the revenue share one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because obviously, when you're subleasing, you have to buy the furniture yourself. You have to pay the agent to find the unit, stuff like that.
Deposit, the rent up front, and that's something interesting as well. Like, I mean, I'm sure you experience the same thing. When you come to Dubai, the first thing that an agent told me is like, yeah, I can get you this apartment for 200K, one check.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like, check? What is a check?
Yeah, what's a freaking check?
What is a
Why
check?
don't I just pay the rent monthly?
Right?
Come on.
That's what I do.
Yeah, exactly.
So in the Netherlands, for my previous businesses, for like offices or every apartment I lived in that I rented before I bought the house, I rented just by paying monthly.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm confronted with this idea of paying like checks and upfront. So that was a challenging part, and you got to try to overcome that and get as many checks as you can. Mm-hmm. But that's that was a new thing to me, this check idea.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. So I'm from Iceland, and the same thing there. When I rent an apartment, I just get a bill in my home bank every month and I pay it. It's simple,
right? Yeah.
But in Dubai, people for some reason are still paying with physical check. We write our name, who the money's gonna go, the number, give people piece of paper and they take it to the bank and then it gets
amazing
charged.
And someone has to check it at the bank, and then approve it or not.
Check if the signature is the same. It's like, what are we doing,
right? So that's the funny thing about Dubai. Dubai is so extremely modern, and there's so many opportunities, and there's an app for everything as well. But on the other hand, you have the physical checks you have to give, and I had the issue last time when I signed the check, and then there was apparently a little part of my signature was not the same, and the bank bounced it, and that's oh well. So I just try to, with my landlords right now, I just tell them, whenever the check is due, give me the check back and I'll transfer it to you, just to make sure you don't have any issues for that.
I got you. Yeah, I'd love to talk more about checks, but tell me, so if we go more into subleasing before we go into anything else, so how much money are you making per apartment that you're subleasing?
Good question. Good question. I think this one is I started in June, right? So I started my first apartment in June, and I'm like building by now. So I don't have like a full year yet, but the numbers are pretty much matching with my prognosis that I made. So I can extrapolate the numbers and make a clear assumption on what I expect to make at the end of the year. So around 100K per apartment is going to be my profit margin. So last month, I did my calculation. Was a pretty good month, but obviously it's December, right? So that's
so 100K. Hold on, just to clarify, sure. 100K. That's 100,000 dirhams.
Dirhams, correct.
For the year,
correct.
That comes out to about $2,500 per month.
27,000 a year, approximately.
$27,000 a year profit per apartment.
Correct.
That's exactly the same thing that I'm calculating. So
that's
I
good.
guess we're on a similar.
We're on the same page.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
All right. And do you see a big difference if you take a 2-bedroom apartment or 3-bedroom apartment, or it's...
So when I started like the journey in Dubai, what I did is I examined the numbers. You want to do some market research. What do you want? Studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, and I decided to go for 2 and some 3 bedrooms as well, because for the studios and the 1 bedrooms, I feel like I'm competing with hotels. At the end of the day, a hotel is going to be more cost efficient. They have the whole building, they have operations way more efficiently, and we might have like 2, 3, 4, or if you're doing a great job, 10 apartments in 1 building. So at the end of the day, the hotel is going to be more cost efficient. I don't want to compete with them. For the 2 and the 3 bedrooms, there is more opportunity to differentiate from a hotel, and also to put some beds, extra beds perhaps, and house more people in 1 unit. So if you ask me the difference between 2 and 3, well, a lot has been changing over the last months, also in the profitability of a 3-bedroom unit, as 3-bedroom units the rent has come down a lot. I believe you talked about it as well. So the rent has been coming down a lot for the 3 bedrooms, more than for the 2 bedrooms.
I agree.
So now a 3-bedroom becomes more and more interesting than a 2-bedroom. But on the other hand, if you want to target people who relocate, if you want to do corporate housing, then a 3-bedroom and a 2-bedroom is going to be less attractive than a 1-bedroom. So right now I'm mostly at 2 bedrooms, a few 3 bedrooms. I don't have any 1 or bedroom or studios yet, but I do want to add them to my portfolio just to make sure, to test and to diversify a bit. What about you? How is it for you?
So it's crazy to listen to you speak, because we never knew about each other until like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we came to Dubai at the same time. And everything you're saying is like directly from my mouth, and we have never talked before.
Correct.
Like I'm making the same analysis. I'm also doing 2 and 3 bedroom apartments in the same area. I want to test 1 bedroom apartments, but not sure because I'm competing with all the hotels. So I guess
we're both from Europe as well.
We're both from Europe. We both very recently broke up with our girlfriends, got out of a relationship. It's it's insane. But tell me one thing I wanted to ask you. Like, how do you analyze how much the apartment is going to make? So when you were in the Netherlands trying to see if this was going to make sense in Dubai, how did you analyze? How did you see that this would make sense?
A good question again, because you cannot just go to another country in an assumption and then expect to make money. So what I did at first is I made sure that I had an AirDNA account, which is like software to make sure to analyze the market, right? With AirDNA, I looked at the demand and the supply growth. So as you might know, I'm sure you know, that the demand and the supply both grew like enormously in Dubai, especially after COVID. I think because Dubai, the Emirates did a great job managing COVID and the restrictions and still being kind of open. I think that triggered among a lot of other factors as well. But I just looked at the numbers. So how much does the supply grow? So the number of units available on the market, and the demand. So the booking demand. Both grew like enormously. So that. And the supply actually even outgrew the demand by a little bit. So it was not like an immediate green flag. But the growth, just the idea of there being growth of the market, like by very high percentages, made me confident that if I do a good job, I can come here and capture, a good piece of the pie. Yeah.
So exactly. So how I analyze what markets are good is there's two ways. There's one software called AirDNA, which I'm sure you know about, and that kind of tells you how much some apartments made in the last year.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad data there. It gives you a lot of like things that don't make sense, but you can easily like filter that out and see what makes sense and come to a conclusion of what these apartments were making over the past year.
Yeah.
But another thing that I pretty much just like better now is just going on the Airbnb platform, looking at apartments, looking for good apartments, seeing their price, and see if they are getting booked at all into the future. And if they are getting booked and I can see what the prices around those dates are, I can pretty safely estimate that they got booked for that price.
True.
So right now that's, for me, it's like even a better way to estimate how much I'm going to be making. And it's been pretty accurate so far. Because when I was in Iceland, I was trying to see if this made sense in Dubai. I was like you, I was not 100%. I was like, yeah, it could make sense, but I'm not 100% sure. You know what I mean?
I understand.
Did you feel the same?
Exactly, for sure. I mean, there is always some doubt if you're gonna like do something new. And the good thing for you is you actually have experience in the business from back home, and that of course helps you a lot. If I look at my situation, I did not have that.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think that's so impressive that you're doing so good without experience.
Thank you. I still have to like finish my first year, right?
Yeah.
So, but I'm pretty confident that it's going in the right direction. So I appreciate the compliments. So if I look at the doubt I had back home when trying to decide to take the step or not, at some point you realize that if you don't try, you lose automatically. If the numbers tell you that it's a good decision, if you see that the market is growing, if you see that other people are making money, and then to me it's just like a challenge. Let's just go for it. And what's the worst thing that can happen? Is it doesn't work, and you just tried something in your life. And luckily right now it seems like it's going in the right direction, and the risk is paying off.
Yeah, it's crazy because you came here with no experience, made it work somehow, because I reward everything to my experience in Iceland, because I've been doing this for like 3 years there, and the only thing I knew, because I wasn't sure if it was going to make sense, because it was hard to like concretely see that this was going to make sense, and also nobody was documenting this.
Right.
Nobody. If you go on YouTube and you go like subleasing in Dubai, nobody was doing this. But I know now that a lot of people are doing it, but nobody was telling anyone about it. So I was skeptical. So when I moved to Dubai, I was like, okay, if I'm moving to Dubai, I gotta have something else. So I actually applied for a bunch of jobs and got a job in a holiday home company and as a real estate agent in the same company. And I worked there, I tried subleasing. I was like, okay, that's gonna make sense. And ultimately, I put so much focus in my subleasing business that I got fired from the job.
You got fired, actually.
Pretty much. But we both knew it was
a great way.
Yeah, we both knew it was coming.
Yeah.
So that's crazy.
Interesting. So I wanted to ask you as well, right? Because you took the leap also from Iceland, from Europe to Dubai, and I mean you're doing a great job. Like 9 apartments right now, correct? And you're eyeing for the 10th one, and growing up to 100 is your goal, and I'm sure you're going to make it.
Yeah.
If you look at the cultural differences between Iceland or Europe in general, because I've been to Iceland once. I'm from the Netherlands. I think Iceland is super down to earth, right? Icelandic people super down to earth.
What do you mean down to earth?
Down to earth, I mean, as opposed to Dubai, also down to earth people as well, but there's more of abundance, extravagance. You see this more here in Dubai than in Europe in general. How has this culture shift been for you?
Yeah, I could talk a lot about that. So. And it hits me pretty hard too, because what I see, the biggest difference between Iceland and Dubai is in Iceland, everybody is the same. Everybody makes pretty much the same amount of money. Everybody, it's a family. It's just like a family. Because everybody pretty much knows each other, or somebody knows somebody that knows the other person. But that makes it also very hard to do anything different, because you're just gonna think you're gonna be judged. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
you don't want to stand out.
Yeah,
basically.
you don't want to stand out. It's kind of, or at least you have to, be very tough to do it. But and I couldn't do it. Everything I did was a secret. Like I couldn't show anybody what I was doing because I would just think people were going to judge me, tell me what I'm doing wrong, stuff like that. And it's just so hard when it's people that you know so closely. But when I came to Dubai, and I didn't know anybody, and everybody's from a different culture, and everybody's different, you know. And if you're different, doesn't matter. People are just going to root for you, and it made it so much easier just to post everything I was doing on Instagram. I just started making videos every day just about what I was doing, just documenting. And yeah, that has been
super nice, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Super. I can understand this. You know, for me, if I think about the step I took from the Netherlands to Dubai, actually I wasn't even like planning to move. Right, so that's a funny part of the story, because when I decided to do Airbnbs, my idea was, you know what, I just come here, open the company, open like 1, 2, or 3 units, Airbnbs, up to 4, and let's see how it goes. Let's take it from there. But my idea was not immediately like just to leave everything in the Netherlands and start living here. That actually came gradually when I saw the opportunity that Dubai is offering you when you want to work hard. You know, when you want to work hard, when you want to work smart as well, you know how to do that. You find the right opportunities and you put the right effort. This country, this city can be so rewarding. So it kind of lured me in. Yeah. So that's
it's kind of. Have you been back to the Netherlands since you moved?
Yeah. Actually, well, I've been back and forth quite a few times.
Okay.
Since I started the company, since I rented the first unit in June. But it's only recently, I think in end of October, that I actually came here and rented the place for myself long term. Because I was staying in one of my units the whole time. It was low season as well, so you know it's okay. But now during high season, it would have been like
How do you feel when you go back? Because I've been back twice.
Yeah.
And Dubai is just addicting, man. Every time I go back, I just wanna I gotta get to Dubai ASAP.
The convenience of Dubai, you don't see it like anywhere, right?
Yeah.
When one of the things I like to order my food. That's one of the examples, right? So even if it's midnight, I tend to work out late and do some work after, and then I want to eat dinner, right? So even if it's midnight, I can like easily like open Kareem or one of the apps and order whatever I want, even if it's like an acai bowl, you know. So back home, forget about it. You know, like around 9 restaurants close, and around midnight you can only buy like, if you're lucky, fries or a burger. Exactly. You know? So that's a practical thing. But there's way more to Dubai that is going to be addicting, and is going to, I think it's going to, keep you and me as well around for quite a few years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I have this food service every morning. They just leave food outside my door. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
I kid you not, I just subscribed to one.
Really?
Yeah, tomorrow morning they're gonna.
What? It's Nutrition Kitchen I'm using.
No, that's not the one.
Yeah.
I forgot the name, but I subscribed to one. I'm gonna let you know how it was.
Yeah, I love mine. Yeah. It's just so good not to have to think about like what you're gonna eat every time and stuff like that.
Super easy. Minimize the decisions you have to take. Yeah. So you can focus on that what you're good at. Yeah.
Dude, that's all I do.
Right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Maybe that also boils down to like deciding what you do in the company and what you outsource to other companies, right?
Yeah.
I believe you outsource quite a few activities within your business as well, right?
Yeah.
So what made you decide that?
To outsource things?
Yeah.
So as I grew in Iceland, as soon as I got to like 3 apartments or 2 apartments, I started outsourcing the cleaning.
Yeah.
Then at 5 apartments, I started outsourcing the communication. I had virtual assistants in Pakistan do the communication. And then at some point at like 10 apartments, I had to outsource the maintenance because every day there's something wrong. So I just hired a guy full time to do all the maintenance. And then the guys in Pakistan just tell him what the issues are, and they're all in a WhatsApp group, and I just mute that group and they just handle it.
And on a daily basis you check or you get the report, and that's
exactly. And then right now I actually did one step further because I hired a virtual assistant in the Philippines for $6 an hour, and she's going to be handling like setting up my listings and improving them, writing captions on all the photos, and detailed explanations about everything on the listing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, we could talk forever because we got so much in common, but we only have an hour. So tell me before we get into it, I want to understand your background a little bit. So you're from the Netherlands.
Correct.
And what did you do there for the last couple of years?
So that's I'm gonna try to summarize it, right? So I've been
gotta be fast,
right? Born and raised in the Netherlands, 30 years ago. Born in a city close to The Hague. You might know The Hague, like a city of peace and all that. So it's a beautiful city close to the beach. But you cannot go to the beach for a lot of days a year because it's cold. So I have, built quite quickly on a young age. When I was 19, I started my first company. This was a direct sales company. So I had like a team of people going door to door selling subscriptions. I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I didn't feel like being employed. It doesn't match with me as a person. So I decided to, why not start immediately, even during studying at university. I started my first company. I finished my studies. I don't know how, but I managed to do that. Okay. But so I started this first company, grew it for quite a few years, and then I decided to exit and went into something that had more of my passion into it, which is software. So I have a software company still and an e-commerce company. I focused on those things for quite a few years in the Netherlands until very recently. Again, I still have the companies, but I'm not as focused as I am on my company here, Smart Stay in Dubai. These companies though, like the software and the e-commerce company, which I've dedicated a lot of my time in over the last few years, help me run the company. So I don't have like the same, help me run Smart Stay. So I don't have the same experience in hospitality, in Airbnb, in subleasing apartments, but I do have like this e-commerce and this software experience, and it helps me. Because I think in a way what we're doing is we're selling things online. We're selling an experience online. So people go to your listing, which is like a product page. They see a price, they see a title, they see some pictures, and they see a description. And based on this information, they decide to buy or to click away and buy someone for somebody else. The same thing as I do on Amazon or any of those other, like an e-commerce website. So that's how I approach my company from the front end. This e-commerce experience helps me within Smart Stay to optimize like the conversions, and this approach is, I think, really, we've been talking about it like before the podcast, even like the pictures, they're super important. People buy the pictures. So this helped me, like my former experience in e-commerce is helping me right now in Smart Stay as well.
That must be it, because looking at your listings, looking at how you do this, you can tell like this guy, he knows what he's doing. So it must give you like a big advantage, like the experience you have from that.
Sure. It does. It helps. There was a lot I had to figure out though. When you start when I started like for the first time, how am I going to deal with guests who ask for an extra blanket? How am I going to deal with guests who are, who don't give us their passport details and then show up at the building? Because in Dubai, you have to upload the passport details to the DTCM in the building. So I feel like there's a lot of things. How do I deal with guests who give a bad review or people who break things? Am I going to claim it or not? Like a lot of decisions I had to
a lot of things you had to learn in a short period of time, for sure.
Right. So that's
something that I had the luxury of already have learned, before I came here.
Yeah, but you had to learn it too, right? You only did it earlier.
True. That's right.
Yeah.
But why did you decide Dubai? Why not? Because I feel like there's a lot of places that are better for subleasing than Dubai.
You think so?
I think so. Yeah.
Why?
Okay. Dubai has a lot of benefits. Like the regulations are very clear, and there's so many apartments. It's easy to scale here, and there's a lot of good things that makes Dubai really good. But I think the profit margins are higher in other places. Like I've spoken to people in Denmark. I spoke to a guy that runs like 150 apartments in Denmark, and his profit margins are higher than ours for sure. And in Iceland they're higher as well. And I've heard that even in Spain you can make a lot of money subleasing as well. So I think there's a lot of places you can make a lot of money subleasing. Why do you think? Why do you like Dubai? Why did you move to Dubai?
Well, it's easier, of course, now to say it in hindsight. Since I'm already here, I can advertise Dubai. But if I look at how my decision making went back then, at some point I just was on social media scrolling, and I was looking for something to invest some of my money in, and I got one advertisement to buy a property in Dubai. Like you must get those advertisements as well, like just a 30,000 down payment, and you're going to be a millionaire tomorrow. So like one of those advertisements, and I happened to click on one of them, and then you end up in a funnel, and you stay in the funnel, and I just, it kept reminding me of Dubai, until at some point I actually started to research the opportunities of Dubai. So what, with the knowledge I have now, and also back then actually, the how Dubai grew from like a desert with nothing to the city it is now, with all these skyscrapers, all these companies, a lot of people with money coming in, and also people here making a lot of money. It's just the city of opportunities, right? It's a city of opportunities, a city that's also very depending on tourism, with a very competent government. The government really knows what they're doing, and they've been successful at it, right? So you want to align your goals with the people in power. In our case, it's tourism, right? Tourism is for us. It's a very important. If the demand or the demand declines, it's going to be tough for us. If the demand grows, it's going to be a good thing for us. And now, since tourism is a very important pillar in the goals of the Dubai government, if you align your own goals with them, that sounded to me like a great opportunity.
Yeah, that's smart.
That's one thing. Second. Regulations. It's a mature market, right? There are a lot of markets that are not mature yet, and you can go and maybe make a lot of money, but from one day to the other, they could shut down the market, right? And then what? You're going to be there and invest a lot of your time and energy and focus and money, maybe even get some investor money in and have it invested in a market, and they shut it down from one day to the other. That's what happened in Amsterdam in the Netherlands, right? So I knew personally people who were making like 5 times their rent, not exaggerated, like and like a lot of money, but from one year to the other, it got shut down. But then what are you going to do? So this is not going to happen in Dubai. So there's more safety to it.
That's what I like the most, because I can scale as much as I want, and I'm not afraid of it being shut down. But so I'm posting a lot on Instagram. I get a lot of comments and messages, and people that want to sublease as well. And I want to tell most of them, like, I would say that Dubai is maybe. You sublease in Dubai once you know what you're doing. You want to scale. You are good at this. But if you are from another country, I would research the opportunity of doing a unit or 2 there first before you come to Dubai, because often, like you said, in Amsterdam you could 5x your rent, but while in Dubai you can 2x it at most
if you're doing a good job.
At most.
True. So
in Iceland, you can also, like, some places you can 3, 4, 5x it as well. Well, okay, that's going to be hard, but still a lot more than Dubai. So I would like tell people, like, if you have the opportunity of doing it in another country, I would research the possibility there before doing it in Dubai, just to begin with.
Right, I agree. So if you are able to do it close to home, and skill to a certain extent, to really have an experience, then that's a good idea. For me, in the Netherlands, it's just not allowed. You can only do it for a certain days a year. So I had to take a decision. Am I going to go to another country that's not going to be my final destination where I really want to scale, or am I immediately going to jump to there where I want to be? And I decided for the second one.
Makes sense.
So that's it.
Makes sense. So what has been harder than you thought?
Ooh, that's a good question. What has been harder than I thought? I think there's a lot of work just setting up the units, right? Like figuring out everything at first. Like, how does this thing work? It took me like quite a few weeks to even get a bank account, right? Because I didn't know, right? You go to a bank, and you ask them, hey, can I get an account here? And they tell you, bring 6 months of bank statement to get an account. But wait a second, I'm trying to get an account. I don't have an account, right? So that's one of the things. And there's a lot of those things before you can finally focus on the actual business. That took me quite a lot of energy and focus. Then there's a different work culture when finally setting up the apartments, meaning when you're actually because the first apartments I furnished myself, right? Completely myself with a team. I hired people, and you really have to micromanage if you don't use a company who does it for you. You have to micromanage like the workers, and the culture is differently. The communication barrier is high. So that's one thing in operations. cash flow is another thing. Like I told you in the beginning of the podcast, I did not think that I had to, you know, come up with a huge sum of cash, like one check, what they initially told me, to start the company.
Oh, so, you moved here and you thought you would just be able to pay monthly?
Well, I knew about the checks. Okay. I knew about it. I thought like 6 checks would be doable. Well, it's...
Because I went, before I moved here, I sent, like, just to test it out, I was like sending agents like messages saying, like pretending to be in Dubai and being ready to sublease just to see what obstacles I would face. Yeah. So
I think I took a bigger leap of faith.
Okay.
So
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
So I wanted to ask you as well, since one of the things that actually made me think and reconsider the decision before I came is like, I listened to a lot of people. I researched online as well, and they tell you stay away as far as you can from seasonal markets. Now Dubai is a super seasonal market. Like right now we're in high season. We just finished December, super great month. But later on in summer it's gonna be tough, right? How are you planning on mitigating that?
Dude, the craziest thing has happened now. Like since the last time I met you, we spoke about the summer and right now, recently I just took a look at the listings, and I just pretended that I'm a guest. I'm gonna go to Dubai in the summer, what the prices were, and right now I just put all of my listings just, you know, at the very lower end. Just made sure my apartments were the best deals in the market next summer, and they're getting booked like crazy. I'm getting booked at like 700 dirhams a night, which is sometimes 900 dirhams a night.
That's good.
Next summer. That's good. That's a lot more than I thought.
Yeah, that's absolutely good. Yeah. How's your cancellation policy?
That's the thing though. They can cancel. So they can cancel up to 30 days before. Yeah.
That's something you have to keep in mind as well, right? So I'm trying to manage the same thing. So I use like multiple platforms. I have Airbnb, Booking.com, and VRBO and direct bookings, right? So if I look at the whole pie, I think 55% actually comes from Booking.com, 25% Airbnb, and 20% direct bookings. The good thing from Airbnb, from Booking.com, is that you can run some campaigns. So you can increase the commission you give to Booking.com for them to show your listings on higher, like the promoted ones. Also, you can do like the limited time offers where you can like select a bookable area, like bookable time frame. That's what I'm doing right now. So for the low season and increase the visibility with a very good offering. So a lower price than they would get if they would normally book it for that period. So that's what I'm trying to do right now.
Do you see it working?
Yes, actually, really? I just did that last week, and I got quite a few bookings. I think around 100,000 dirhams worth of bookings already for the low season, which is amazing.
I think it's so important to start getting bookings for the low season early.
Yes,
because if you once we get into May, June, and we want to start getting bookings, then it's just going to be a price war, because everybody's going to be dropping their prices like crazy. Right.
So you don't want to like be part of a price war. Yeah. Because there's a lot of competition, and if you're going to compete on price only, you're going to hit the bottom and not going to make any money. Yeah. You have to strategize about that. Yeah. And I think you and me as well, we're planning ahead, which is a necessity to survive and make sure that you at least break even or even make some money during low season.
You know, almost everybody I talk to, almost everybody, like some big operators, they are always preaching getting booked just last minute. Yeah, only last minute. What do you think about that?
Honestly, I have the same thing. My booking window is pretty short, so most of my bookings, I just looked it up like yesterday, 3.9 days before the stay, like on average, right? So including the very far out bookings, and I do want to do something about that. So this is actually, I decided to do that, what I just told you about, doing the advertisements and the campaigns for the low season to get some more far out bookings in. Also, I decreased my base price. I use Price Labs as a software to manage the pricing, and I decreased my base base price to make sure that the far out bookings are coming in as well. So decrease my base price, also decrease the discount I give for the last minute. So I balance it out a bit, right? So that's I think something that's super important to manage. If you're running an Airbnb business, your pricing strategy is crucial. So the long-term pricing should not be too high, especially during low season. Manage the orphan gaps, like between bookings for like 2 or 3 or 4 days. Make sure you give a discount there. So you want to play around with your occupancy. I'm really focusing on that right now. So either both far out bookings and occupancy during orphan gaps.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I spend a lot of my time as well.
Right.
So Price Labs is software that like picks up automatically the supply and demand for each day and prices them accordingly. And what we have to do is just tell the software the base price, how we think the apartment's worth, and then it's going to run with that. So we have to change the base price up and down, and we have to tell the software to give a certain amount of last minute discount. Because if our apartment is not getting booked, we want to like give it a last minute discount. How much is your last minute discount? Mine right now is 37% over the next 21 days.
That makes sense. That's a good one. So I played around with my last minute discounts on Price Lab. So indeed, like you said, there's a long a base price, which is like the and then based on this base price, you get a discount or a premium if you have this far out premium configured in Price Labs. So for me, for the last minute discount, I have a stepwise discount. You can configure that as well. So I do not like have a gradual discount. I really make sure, because the people book over the last couple of days, right? They still do that. Even if you don't give a discount, they will book for tomorrow or the day after. The day itself, I give a super high discount, 60%, for the apartments that are not booked yet. And I give even a higher discount on booking.com, because you can like even set up the number of hours before check-in time. So after noon, like after 12 p.m., I give even a higher discount. So that's how I really want to make sure I get a high occupancy. I started doing like this very advanced way of configuring my prices in Price Labs and booking.com this month, and my occupancy is 95%. And I'm pretty happy with that.
I like that. Yeah. So your same day is 60%.
Yes.
Tomorrow, what's the discount?
20%.
20%?
Just 20%.
And then the day after, that's
it
gradually goes down.
Gradually goes down.
But so
every
it goes,
2 days
goes up to 20%,
yes.
and then buying 60% the same day.
Yes.
So obviously you get a lot of maybe. So if you were unlucky, didn't get booked, which is often just nobody in the market, it wasn't a fit for anybody, happens. So you often get maybe a 2-day booking there.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, true. If I get a 2-day booking, then the second day is going to be for a normal price.
Yeah. And that gives you more time to find somebody that actually likes, because you have a competitive price. There is going to come somebody that's going to like this price and like that unit, but it just didn't happen that day.
Correct.
I'm going to look into this. I like this.
Sure.
But can you do that on Price Labs?
You can do the stepwise. I believe it's called the demand. It's somewhere on advanced settings, and I can send it to you.
Yeah, we'll talk about this.
Definitely. So I think this is like, but the hours before check-in time setting is only on booking.com. So
dude,
only in the
smart.
afternoon.
You got brains, dude.
Thank you. I try to maximize to be efficient. Because the thing is, in our business we have a very high fixed costs percentage, right? We're gonna pay rent either way. If the unit is occupied or the unit is not occupied, you're gonna pay rent either way. So it's the art to make sure that you don't waste these days. I rather have a listing rented out for a very low price than for zero, because at the end of the day, the cleaning fees are going to be covered by the cleaning costs are going to be covered by the cleaning fees, and every dirham you get, every dollar you get is going towards your profit margin. So an empty room is something I want to avoid at all costs.
Yeah, I got you. 2 things when I look at your units, I see that you do a little bit better than me. Is one, your listing on booking.com is very detailed. You have all the friggin' details filled out. Do you do that yourself, or do you have your assistant do that?
This I did myself.
Yeah, that takes a lot of time because booking is a lot of work.
yeah, correct. It took quite some time.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm just 6 months in right now, right? So I want to make sure to do everything myself first, understand everything, and then after I understand it, I start delegating it. So I'm starting to delegate things now that I've been doing myself, just to make sure I need to understand it 100% before I can delegate it correctly, especially if I want to scale to 100 units, 200 units, which is the goal. I need to be aware of the art of these things. Yeah.
The other thing that you do better than me is the photos. Your photos are absolutely perfect.
Thank you.
The way my photographer is good. Like he's good, but the way that your photographer managed to catch the view outside the window. So you're just taking a photo of the living room, but there's no glare in the window. And the view is just crispy clean, and you edit the sky to make it look a little better. Yeah. So how much do you pay for that? And was that photographer, he just knew how to do that, or did you have to like really push him to do it that way, the way you like it?
So that's a good question again. I think photography is crucial. So people buy the listing. They don't go to the apartment and buy the apartment. They buy the listing. They buy the picture. They buy the title. They buy the price. So the picture is super important.
Most important thing.
Right? Exactly. So you want to make sure you capture every room of your apartment. You want to make sure to capture all the unique things about your apartment.
And have a lot of photos. Exactly. So many people just have 15 photos. And it's like
too little. You have to do 3 times as many to have a proper picture for your guest. So for the photographer, I pay him quite a lot because this is like it's a crucial part of my profitability. And I'm there, right? For the first few units, I was just there with him, just to tell him, okay, I want this, I want that. And I even made him come back a couple of times because I was not happy with the picture, right? So you really want to make sure that your team understands what you want and what your values are.
This is a freelancer, right?
Yes.
How much you pay him per time?
It depends because I do like multiple apartments at the same time and I try to make a deal, right? So it's going to be like 1,000 dirhams for a unit ish. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
What about furniture? How much do you spend to furnish your apartment?
Furniture. Now that if I look at the units I did myself, most of the units I did myself initially, it's a bit cheaper than what I'm spending now because I'm using a furniture service for my last apartment. A company who does everything just to make sure that I can focus on the things that I'm good at. I don't want to spend too much time working on the furniture. If I look at the costs, I spend around 40 to 50,000 dirhams on a 2-bedroom apartment to furnish it properly, like including appliances, etc.
45 to 50,000 for everything.
Yes. That's for too bad. Yes.
And you don't use a service to do this.
Right now I do. For the last 3 units I just set up in December. I was too busy to manage it myself. I'm still working on finding someone and hiring someone to do that for me. So I decided let's just go for the most efficient way or effective way.
What company do you use?
The same company you use.
Same as mine. Yeah. Kiana Furniture.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, they're good for sure. They set it up fast, easy to deal with.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Good customer service as well. Good taste. So it helps you. Helps you out.
And if something breaks within the 6 months, they replace it for you for free.
I didn't even know about that, but I think that's a good thing to know. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
man. So okay.
Yeah.
One thing I want to ask you about subleasing. So obviously you've done a lot of things. Like for me, I sold insurance and I've done Airbnb. You've like had your own company kind of thing. And what do you think? Do you think subleasing is going to be your business for a long time? Or is there something, with this model that you think at some point it's not going to make sense anymore and you're going to start doing something else?
So I like what I'm doing. I like this business, because I like to travel. I traveled a lot. That's one of the reasons that I got interested into Airbnbs as well. So and it's profitable. If you do a good job, you can scale and you can be successful, right? So and I think for the coming 5 years, I'll be working on Smart Stay at least. I like to look at life every 5 years.
Yeah, nice.
So for the coming 5 years, definitely I'll be focusing on Smart Stay. Subleasing subleasing, but also revenue share. I think both models are interesting to diversify. Mostly subleasing, if possible, but it's very capital intensive, right? So you cannot like scale unlimitedly unless you have unlimited money.
That's the annoying part with subleasing, because you have to invest so much money into your apartments that every time you make money, or every time I make money, it's just gonna go into more apartments. So
right?
I'm like, yeah, my like lifestyle goes up with it because I spend more and more of it. But it would be nice to have a business where you just all your profits just go into your bank account and you're just
you
like,
see it immediately.
What should I do with this money? You know what I mean? That's the annoying part with it.
I completely agree, and I understand this. You know, just now I was like calculating my profits over last month, and I did not even realize I made these profits. I didn't know. I really didn't know.
Because you just spend it all on more apartments.
I immediately like paid some rents for the coming months, so you don't feel that. I didn't even take like 1 dirham out of the company since June. My ambition with this company is really to see how far I can go. It's like a challenge. So the money is not even the goal. The money is just a way to keep track of the score, right? So whatever I make is not something that I'm, you know, I don't want to use it to fund my lifestyle just yet. Let's just grow the company, reinvest, see how far we can get and build a sustainable business. So for example, last month, you know, I want to be transparent as well about the numbers. 10 units I had like operational. I added the 11th one halfway the month, and at the end of the month I added like 3 more. So at the end of the month I was at 40, so just before New Year's Eve. That's so amazing.
Nice.
I was really like calling Kiana Furniture in this case, like on every day, like can we just, you know, finish it before New Year?
Let's hurry up.
Let's hurry up. So I got that done, super happy with that. So for 10 units last month, I had a total revenue of 500,000 dirhams, which is great. If I look at my rent, it was 200,000, and rent plus cleaning and also like the utilities. So I had 300,000 dirhams left. Out of those 300,000, let's say 30,000 was taxes, city tax and VAT approximately, and another 30,000 company expenses, which left me with 240,000 dirhams, which is a great number. I'm happy with that for like my 6 months of doing this business. But again, I did not see this money because I immediately reinvested in furnishing these new units. I'm signing a new check, a new apartment right now, starting next month. So you just keep on reinvesting on your proceedings. If you can do that, that's the way to go. But again, you don't need to do that. Both you and me, we have other sources of income. So we're able to reinvest our proceedings.
How are you financing all these units? They are from your like software business at home?
From not only the software business, but like my own funds.
That you've saved up? Or?
Yeah, that I saved up in previous companies, and I fund my lifestyle with my other companies right now. So let's say 90% is my own money. I have some people investing as well, with whom I'm working in my software company, for example, my business partner.
So they're investing into your...
Yes,
okay.
yes.
I got you. So do you think... Are you gonna at some point run out of money to expand? Or?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's.
So you're gonna maybe go into revenue share more to.
A few things I'm gonna do. So you don't need to run out of money, right? If you just add a unit every month, for example, you can just like slowly grow, and there's no need to get any money from anybody else. But if you want to speed it up, which I want, you need to find like creative ways to get more cash flow. Yeah. So one option is revenue share. So if you do revenue share, you will make money without investing, and you can invest this money, the 20%, for example, management fee that you're getting into getting new apartments. Yeah,
so for those that don't know, revenue share is where you just manage an Airbnb apartment for another person that owns it, and you take a part of that.
Correct. So they give you an apartment, you can furnish it for them, but it's going to be their costs. You run it on Airbnb, Booking.com, you take a cut, for example, 20%, and the 80% in this example goes to the landlord. So that's one way that I can like finance my growth in subleasing. You
have 2 apartments like that.
Correct.
Do you like this model? Is it a lot more work? Because I would imagine that the owners of these apartments would be just bombarding you with questions.
Absolutely,
they are.
Absolutely. So that's which I understand, right? If you buy a 4 million dirham apartment in downtown Dubai, you want to make sure that everything is going well, right? So managing that by itself is a challenge. So I need to like build a team for that as well. So it's intense as for work. work. But again, it's balancing risk and money and work on the other hand, you know, like so if you manage to find a solution for the work, and at some point the landlords will also trust you, right? When you show that you do a good job, they won't go and call you every day.
No, exactly.
So just to get back to the financing, right? So one is revenue share. The other is, you know, might be getting some other investments, you know, maybe loans or people who want to participate in the company, which is not something I'm looking at right now. Because you want to grow as far as you can within your own means. That's a second way, but it could be an option. And the third way is you want to look into getting paid for your bookings as soon as you can. So at Booking.com, payments through Booking.com, the issue is you get your money after the checkout. For Airbnb, you get your money after the check-in. But if you do direct payments, direct bookings, if someone books in half a year from now, you get the money now. You can now get another apartment and finance the rent of the initial apartment this way. So creative financing by itself, making sure that your cash flow is on point. You get the cash earlier than you have the expenses. That's the best way to finance your growth.
I just learned this recently, and I'm like working on putting this into my business as well. So are you already doing that?
I just switched from payments through Booking.com to direct payments. It's a bit of a hassle because the credit cards don't get checked immediately. You have to kind of, you know, put some more effort into getting the money. But once my VAs are working on it right now, I have VAs who are experienced working at Booking.com as well. So that will, at the end of the day, be a way to finance my growth for free. Working on it now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm positive about that.
Yeah, me too. I want to get into that. I think it could be huge. But just like you said, I'm like worried it's going to be a lot more work. Maybe guests will be less likely to book because they have to pay now.
No, I don't think so. Because on Airbnb and Booking.com, they also pay now, right? So they already pay now.
They do pay now on Airbnb, but on Booking.com, a lot of times you don't have to pay until like a month before your stay or...
Depends.
Yeah, it depends.
It really depends,
I think it's probably not going to affect it too much.
I don't think so. Just the problem would be like your own payment processing, the work you have to do to make sure that you capture all the payments. The risk of the payment is on you, and also like chargebacks, all those things. That's going to be like something you have to manage. Refunds as well. So I use Stripe, for example. So if I have a booking 3 months, 4 months, 5 months from now, and I would get the money now, and this person would cancel after a month or after 2 months, I will have to pay the money back. But Stripe does not refund me the payment processing fees. So there's also like a cost you have to calculate. In case of refunds, you will lose the payment processing fees. If you get the payments through Booking.com or Airbnb, this payment processing fee is not being calculated, not being charged to you. So that's also something you have to take into account. It's a game, you know.
So if you're charging it yourself, then you don't have to pay the processing fees at Booking.com?
You don't pay, exactly. So you don't pay like the 2.5% for payments by Booking.com.
But doesn't Stripe charge you just
Stripe
instead?
charges you, yes.
Is it less or is it?
No, it's more.
It's more,
It's more. And also, if you refund in case of a cancellation,
you
do not get it back.
Oh, that's annoying.
So it's not only good.
Yeah. Okay, So you are, kind of paying to be able to get some money in advance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
It is a challenge, but it's a fun challenge. It's a game.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's just how I approach it, as a game, to challenge myself, see how far I can get, see how many happy customers I can get. See, I want to be Superhost every 3 months. I just became Superhost for the second time. Super happy with that. The rating on Booking.com, you want to just see how high you can get with those ratings as well. They matter a lot.
Yeah,
your
for
rating on those platforms are your bread and butter.
It's the photos, it's the ratings, and the furniture.
Exactly. And the furniture, and your cash flow at the end of the day for your profitability.
Well, of course. But okay, we just have a little time left, and I wanna hear better. Like, what do you think about living in Dubai? Like, now you've been here 6 months, or 7 months, or whatever, just a very similar time frame as me. Do you think you could live here forever, or what do you think?
forever is a long time.
Yeah.
Forever is a long time.
Yeah.
So I like to take things 5 years, look in the future 5 years for like such decisions. For the coming 5 years, definitely. Thing is, I do like nature. There is not a lot of nature in Dubai. There is a lot of nature in the other Emirates though. You know, if you drive like 1 hour, this Saturday I'm gonna go on a hike with actually one of my landlords in one of the other Emirates, just to see the nature there. So that might be triggering me to stay here for longer. Forever is going to be tough, but I can see myself living here for quite a few years.
Yeah, definitely. For me, definitely I can see myself being here for the next 5 years. I am like hesitant of like, can I be here forever? You know what I mean? But still, I think you're just gonna get so used to the lifestyle here because just the standard of everything is so high.
The convenience, you can get whatever you want, whenever you want, wherever you want.
But what was it like for you? Because I last time we met, I heard that you just broke up with your girlfriend just as you moved to Dubai, wasn't it? What was that whole experience like? Just coming to Dubai alone, thinking you were gonna move here with your girlfriend. What was that?
So it changes.
Yeah, sorry, because I'm just so interested in this because I recently 2 months ago, me and my girlfriend broke up. So
it's even more recent. So that's it changes your plans, right? So you have to realize, okay, I am still gonna do this thing, but then by myself, right? And that at the moment itself it hits you, but I planned this by myself, right? I decided to do this, and initially the idea was that at some point the idea was that she would join. Well, that didn't go on, right?
How long were you together?
We broke up in the meantime, but in total a year. So that's it was tough. It's not easy. No. It's not easy to as an entrepreneur. At least for me, I tend to focus on my company. I tend to focus on growth. It's like a coping mechanism, right? You gotta what can I do? How can I challenge myself? How can I get more money? Not as a goal again, but as a way to track the score. It's a coping mechanism for me. Just like working out, focusing on the company.
What do you think are the benefits of like being in a relationship and being single?
That is just that really depends on your relationship.
Yeah, of course.
That really depends on your relationship. For me right now, being single, I don't have to consider anybody else. It might sound like self-centered, but for me it's just about me and my company. And my company is like number one priority right now. Growing Smart Stay is my number one priority, and that's where I'm completely focused on. That definitely helps in the results. Being together with someone, obviously, it's nice to come home to someone or have someone come home to you and do things together, share things together, share successes.
Just have that team player, somebody that can just tell everything. You're just like teammates. You're just working together.
Correct. Yeah.
That's so huge.
Yeah.
For me, like for me, the biggest difference between being single and being in a relationship is like when you're in a relationship, you have that team player. You have that and you're like kind of just like taking care of each other kind of thing. Like for me, I was just like taking care of her and she taking care of me. I was like constantly thinking like, how could she improve and how could we, just thinking, making sure she felt good. Right. And
focusing on the future you have together. Right. That's a motivation. It's a great motivation.
And once that goes away and you're like, you don't have anyone to take care of anymore, you're like, well, okay, well then why am I doing this? Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's like empty, a little bit. But that's how it is, man.
I mean, it's not to go too deep. Well, let me actually. This is the second time that I started a company, really focused on the company, and it cost me a relationship, right? So it's. I don't know if it's like a causal relationship between starting a company and being fully dedicated on that and losing a relationship. But it could be, starting a company, and really dedicating yourself on the company, it brings, you have to sacrifice things, right? And even if you do not consciously do that, it could be the reason why a relationship ends, right? So sometimes you see on Instagram or on TikTok or on YouTube like all these great stories about how people become like very successful overnight and everything is like amazing. It's not. You have to sacrifice things. But once you actually have one focal point in the future and you work towards it, and you focus on that, even if you have to, you know, make those sacrifices consciously or unconsciously, it's going to be worth it. Yeah, I think that's how I feel. What about you? Because you broke up with your girl here in Dubai, right?
Yeah, it's not like I broke up with her. We just broke up.
But
yeah, we were together for like 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna move to Dubai. I moved to Dubai first. She came 3 months later.
That was the plan.
That was the plan. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And things were going pretty good. Like we always had some problems. And once we were not together, things were very good. We spoke every day, you know, supported each other. Everything was great. Once she came to Dubai, everything was great for a while. But then as things, you know, just got normal, you know, things just started heating up and we argue all the time and it just escalates.
Get into the spiral.
Yeah, but the thing is, for me, I feel one thing that's a little different for me because you talk about like you're so focused on the job and all that. For me, it's a little different because I am very focused on the job, but I'm obsessed with delegating everything. So honestly, I just work like 3 hours a day, and then I'm just open to hang out with her. You know what I mean? But the thing is, my head is always thinking about
there you
work.
go.
Even though I'm not working, I'm just thinking. My brain is constantly just here.
But Bergthor, that means that you're working.
You know, I guess
that's
so.
the thing. For us, I mean, I have the same thing, right? You know, I almost don't go to the units at all, right? I don't deal with guest communication. Everything is delegated. But your head is there. You're
and you
thinking,
can't help it,
right? It's you just think about the revenue. You think about growth opportunities. You think about how to make things more efficient, and that has impact. That has impact on you, how you behave, and you know that trickles down on the people around you.
That's the biggest thing she complained about. That like every time we were doing something, she said just my head was somewhere else. But I was fighting it. I was trying so hard to be present. You know what I mean? But
there you go. You're an entrepreneur. You know, it happens.
But hopefully, sometime it will change.
You know, by age, time,
probably. But I guess, how old are you?
30 years old.
30 years old, yeah.
Just turned 30 last year, you know, the big 30.
Yeah, nice. I'm 28. So.
28. Oh, so you still have 2 years of being young.
Yeah. I guess we both have like 10 more years.
Definitely. I mean, honestly, we're both super young for what we're doing. And that's a great asset. Like, let's realize that.
Yeah, true.
Everything you do, like you don't have like a responsibility over others. You are there and you can just build and focus on the growth and creating an environment for your future family, for yourself and for your future family, right? So that being young and having time on your hand is an amazing asset. The only thing that you will never get back is time. Money you can make and lose, and make again and lose again. I mean, I lost a lot of money in my life, but I made just a bit more. That's a great thing. But time wasted is time wasted. You will never get it back. So we're both young. We're not even like halfway our working age, right? So we have so much of time. Even if I would lose everything today, I'm confident that I'll be, just give me a couple of years with the experience I have, and I'll be there back again.
Same.
Right?
Same, yeah. And even if it is, you know, a little annoying that our head is constantly thinking about, you know, the business, I think it's also a blessing, like that we have this, you know, determination. We want to go, we constantly think about it. And so, and now being single, that just allows, we don't have to like actively try to stop thinking about it. We could just let ourselves think about it 24/7. Because sometimes I'm just thinking, scrolling through Airbnb till like 1 a.m. in the morning.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
So that's the same thing. Sometimes I get back home from my workout. I tend to work out late, so I'm gonna be like back home at 11 p.m. and sometimes I look at the clock at some point after getting home, eating and working. It's 2 a.m. Like, okay, I think I have to, close my laptop and go on. Would you be in a relationship that would, by most of the partners, the women would not be appreciated? So, yeah.
Exactly. Well, they're telling us to wrap it up. Any final things you want to talk about?
Final things. I think we discussed a lot. We
got to do this again. We have to talk to you for another hour,
easily. And I really enjoy talking to you as well, Bergthor. I mean, we're on the same journey, similar mindset, and I think we can learn a lot from each other. And I hope the listeners to this podcast, the viewers, will also be learning quite a lot.
Yeah, hopefully.
And we definitely should repeat it.
For sure. Where can people book your apartments?
Airbnb, booking.com, or smartstay.me.
Yeah, that's where you gotta tell them to go.
Exactly.
Smartstay.me.
Or smartstaydubai.com.
Okay.
Both of them.
Both of them.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you
so much for the invitation, Bergthor. Really appreciated it.